And we're back. Another episode, Brothers View. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think the only time you go to a cigar lounge is when you hang out with me.
Absolutely.
That cigar's for you if you want it.
Yeah, no, not my thing.
It's all right, man. We all pick our poison.
But that's the point of the show. We're
That's
very
true.
different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could never look at a cigar, have no interest in it. I'd be perfectly happy if I ever looked at one. But I'm okay with the fact that you smoke yours.
Yeah, good. Good, because I'm not changing. Now, brown liquor, clear liquor.
Fair enough.
But you drink whiskey sometimes. You drink a scotch.
I'll drink a scotch, but I mean, brown liquor. I mean, I drink brown rum.
Oh, that's true. No, that's true. You do drink brown rum.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to start this one today with some feedback. We've gotten some comments, right? And I just want to acknowledge that we welcome and love all criticism. We said at the very beginning, we tend to offend. We've gotten some positive feedback from friends, family, right? Our mother thinks we're the greatest singers in the world. She will always think that. Every mother thinks their child is the greatest singer.
Fair enough.
Just ask American Idol bloopers or whatever. But we've gotten some feedback. And I'm going to focus on some of the negatives. One of the ones that I kind of want to poke fun at us, and one of them is I kind of felt there wasn't enough clarity. And, you know, they saw a reel, they saw a short, they said something, and I was like, wow, if you would have seen the whole thing, maybe that would have come in better context.
That makes it hard to respond to some of the comments because I feel like the comments only looked at this little reels and they're not necessarily the substance of what was just being discussed.
Right.
Now, at the same time, we are using the reels to advertise the show.
Yeah.
Our objective is to get people to look at the reels, get interested enough to go and watch the show, but people just respond to the reels. So that makes it hard to, like, it's not that I don't take it seriously, but it's hard for me to respond to a comment when you took something that was taken out of context or one little blurb out of a larger conversation.
You just opened up a window, saw something, and made a decision.
Correct. Right? And that makes it hard to respond to it, I guess I want to say.
So the first one, and I might have to refer to my phone because I wrote them down, but the first one was on me. All right. I think it was the very first episode we did. We were talking about Brittany Griner.
Right.
And I said no one ever heard of Brittany Griner until she got arrested and that whole political agenda of her doing hard time for a smidgen of weed or weed oil. Anyway.
A minuscule amount.
A minuscule amount that you probably couldn't even get high off of.
Right.
Point being, a bunch of people said, bullshit, we've heard of her before. And you probably just don't. Number one, the first person said, oh, it's probably not your demographic. I don't know what the fuck that means because basketball and sports is my demographic. Female sports I watch as well as long as they're exciting. I think the WNBA is not exciting at all. So if WNBA is not my demographic by definition, I'll have to agree to that. Still never heard of her. All right. I've heard of Lisa Leslie before. All right. I think everybody has because she's freaking phenomenal and she's worth mentioning and knowing. Anyway, second thing that they said was, what's the other thing that they said? Basically was that she was successful, relevant in the sport. And I'm sorry, dude. You don't watch golf, right?
I don't follow golf. Let's put it that way.
But you could probably name 2 or 3 golfers.
Okay.
That's the way I feel about the WNBA. I don't watch it, but I can name at least one player that dominates. So to me, whatever. I take the feedback as, you know what?
I'm going to phrase it this way, okay? We don't hear about NBA men. We don't hear about NBA players going to go play for the European leagues.
And it happens.
Okay. We don't have that conversation because generally speaking, if you're an NBA player as a male, you're going to make more money playing for the NBA.
For sure.
Okay. If you choose in the off season to go play for one of the European leagues, it's because you want to support your country, make some additional money. You're bored during the off season. You want to do this. But the reality of it is you're making more money playing for the NBA than you are in playing for one of these European leagues. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is not true for the WNBA.
I knew you were going this way. Okay.
So this is what created the situation for Griner. She went to go play for the European Union. That's why European League, I should say, more specifically. That's why she was in Russia at that time, and that's what created this situation. I think she got treated very unfairly in the whole situation. I don't have a problem with what you said about her because the reality of it is that the WNBA in the United States doesn't garner the same amount of attention.
Yep.
It doesn't. These girls aren't making the same amount of money. Okay, and we want to talk about equality problems. That's a whole different issue. But the reality of it is that the American fans are not as involved, not as fervent. There's not as much money going into the WNBA as there is into the NBA. So these professional athletes are choosing to supplement their income. They want to keep playing during the offseason. You can't fault them for going to the European Union leagues and playing there. The reality is sometimes they're making more money there.
Yeah.
Than they would in the WNBA.
Even some of your bench players and practice squad guys make more money in the Canadian Football League, make more money playing overseas. But the bottom line is we don't hear about them because they're just not relevant.
Because in the American culture, they're not an issue. They're not making the money. So I find that your criticism was fair. Nobody knew this lady's name unless you were just exclusively a female basketball fan.
Yeah.
Okay, you wouldn't necessarily know that. Now, if you were a fan who follows European leagues, okay,
That's different.
that would
that's
be a different thing.
She was probably a phenom there. I mean, I didn't even watch her play in the European League. Everyone, not everyone, a lot of people call us morons, which
Morans.
Morans, yeah, he spelled it wrong.
Yeah, Morans.
I was like, wow, you're gonna call me a moron and spell it wrong.
We were called Morans.
Who's the Moran now? But cool, I don't mind. I like that. You know, at least you're listening and you have a different viewpoint, and I want to discuss that. Whatever your viewpoint is, I don't care who you are. If you feel differently from how we feel, I want to hear it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. We got a bit of flack saying that we just don't like Trump, and because we said we separate his, I think we said we separate his ideals.
I said something along the lines of if his policies were explained by someone else,
Yeah.
they actually sound good. The minute he explains it, they sound idiotic.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
So, you know, and I was like, damn, you know what? I can understand why you would think that, but I just want to let everyone know that if the election comes down between Biden and Trump, I'm probably 90% voting for Trump.
No.
So-
I actually think we really need to highlight this issue because this is really important. And I'm not saying that you are flip-flopped, but you've come full circle
Oh, fuck yeah.
on this issue,
Fuck
right?
yeah.
On the issue of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And I have never really, I don't feel that I've spoken negatively about Donald Trump. I've been very, very honest about where Trump is and where he stands in the political spectrum. Okay. The reality of it is I've always felt, and this is going to be like the thing I'm known for, is that Trump is the president that America deserved. I expect him to win again. We'll find out.
In the
a
very
few
near
months.
future. Yep.
Okay, 10 months. How that plays out. But it would not shock me at all if Trump became the president again because we haven't figured out why this individual continues to be relevant. Okay? And a lot of the negativity that is being assigned to Trump is vastly overblown. Some of that negativity, I feel like you bought into it, but now that you've looked at, we've had 4 years of Biden, okay? We've stepped back and looked at some of the substantive things that Trump did, juxtaposed to what Biden did.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at it, you specifically going,
Yeah, it wasn't so bad after all.
okay, so take the rhetoric out of it, all of a sudden, maybe we were better off that way.
I do want to spend some time talking about Joe Biden today. I kind of feel he's gotten a raw deal on some stuff, but I don't want to leave this last one out because this is the one that I really felt was unjust. It wasn't fair. It was towards you, and not because you're my brother and I want to defend you. I was just like, damn, I know my brother, and this is not what he meant. Or not even that's not what he meant. The understanding that this individual got from hearing what you said, it was like totally fucking way off. So paraphrasing a bit, and I probably should next time read these, but I don't feel like jumping on TikTok or Instagram right now. I'll probably get distracted. Basically you had said a comment basically that the longer that this war goes on between Russia and Ukraine is going to be
more heroic. They come
they're gonna
across more heroic.
come across more heroic, right?
Essentially what
Then the
it
person says, "Oh, so country's dying, thousands people are dying, and oh, you read it, right?
Yeah.
People are dying, and that's heroic." And they were saying, brother's shallow as fuck, meaning you're shallow in your comment. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, how? No, that wasn't it. It's a fact that the longer the underdog fights, okay, the longer we have David and Goliath, and the longer David's in the fight, the more you're like, wow, he's a hero. You're like, wow, you start rooting for him. It's like Rocky, all over again, right? Going 12 rounds with Apollo Creed. If Rocky would have got knocked out in the third round like he did against Clubber Lang, you're not thinking, oh, he's a hero. You're just like, whatever. The guy's a bum. He got knocked out. But dude, Ukraine is going like fucking into the championship rounds right now, and you can't dismiss that. And I clearly understood what you said. I didn't, there's times where we step our foot into shit and we laugh and we say we stepped our foot in shit, but I don't feel that. And I felt like it's not fair without giving you an opportunity to, and this is something like you said, saw 30-second clip. You know what I mean? Watch the show, and Stacey's real good on that. She jumps on that and says, "Cool, watch this. Listen to the podcast.
Take the whole statement.
Take the whole statement before you pass judgment." But I just wanted to give you platform to kind of amplify that.
Well, what I find interesting is how divided people really are on the whole Ukraine thing, because we can step back and look at this from a very detached, non-humanitarian point of view, because people are dying. Okay, we're talking about an armed conflict. People are dying on both sides of this issue. I don't want to ignore the humanitarian aspect of what's happening here.
Right.
But the reality of it is that when this whole thing started, the perception was big Russian superpower is going to plow over Ukraine.
I thought the shit was going to be over in like 2 weeks.
Everybody thought that this was going to be over in a couple of hours. Okay. So the fact that Ukraine has stood up against them, okay, is relevant. This is heroic. No matter how this ends, people will remember what Ukraine stood up against, for lack of a better word, the big bully trying to come in.
It's like the Battle of Thermopylae and shit. These guys are fucking Spartans, bro.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is Die Hard. Now, there are a lot of people pointing out, and this is where we get into like the divisive aspect of this. There are a lot of people who feel that Russia, in general, Putin specifically, were provoked into this situation
by the NATO shit.
The whole NATO argument, the fact that treaties were done, there was some backpedaling between the United States and Russia and various other different countries. They feel like Putin was put into a box and was forced to do this. There's also a lot of discussion about the fact that I'm saying that they're being heroic, but that heroism is only possible because U.S. dollars are being pushed into this. Like only reason why they're able to stand up against them, the only reason why is because the United States is choosing to put U.S. dollars, not boots on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's criticism, and that's fair. But it's interesting to me how galvanized people are on this issue. It seemed like a clear-cut thing to me anyway, that we would want to support Ukraine, that we would want to stop Russia's behavior, Putin's activities, trying to basically recreate the Soviet Union. We've talked about that. But the United States, the European Union, the other individuals are not innocent in this situation. In that same segment, we did a Pussies versus Patriots. And we talked about how the fact that Putin is being a patriot for Russian point of view, from his aspect of it. There are two sides to the coin, and people need to recognize that. And when you look at some 15, 20-second blurb that we're creating, to promote the show, don't make that the totality of the opinion that we're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm giving the Russian side a little bit more credence to it, but that's always the issue. Every issue isn't that clear cut.
Yeah, there's two sides. It's two sides. Yeah.
That needs to be examined. And I think a lot of people who are responding to that wanted to draw that attention to that.
Bring attention to that aspect of it. Yeah. And it's cool. And I understand people are going to get sensitive or whatever. I just definitely feel like you were taken out of context. And I was like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? But I hear you. So I want to segment and go to Biden a bit. Bro, He's getting hammered for his response for what's happening with Israel and Palestine, that whole conflict. He's getting hammered for not acting enough. And I'm kind of feeling like, well, wait a minute, this is kind of a regional, global conflict. The United States can't just show up and dictate policy, especially in the Middle East, where we are possibly entering into, well, fuck, I shouldn't say possibly. We are currently entering into military conflict with Iran through the Houthis, the Houthis.
Yeah.
Houthis, I think they're called.
There's a lot of proxy.
Yeah, a lot of bullshit where we
Yeah.
funnel money here,
Yeah.
and we can't say too much because we're doing the same shit in Ukraine. We're not attacking Russia, but we're giving Ukraine ammo, money, resources
This is Cold War mentality and tactics
all day
over
long.
again.
All day long.
over,
Yeah, it's like Vietnam, right?
Yes.
So like, I'm just like, damn, what do you want this man to do? Because if he drags us into another war, full-blown war against Iran, we're now officially on 3 fucking fronts. And that was the downfall of almost every empire, multiple fronts. All right. We already people are saying we can't bankroll protecting Israel because we're bankrolling Ukraine, which I think we're up to like $110 billion we've given Ukraine, bro. Do you know if you gave every American or at least every taxpayer a portion of that $110 billion? I mean, minimum. I mean, I can't do the math in my head. It's either 10,000 or 100,000.
I've heard a statistic, and I have no idea if this is accurate, but somebody was saying that you could end homelessness in the United States.
With 110 billion fucking dollars, I believe it. I believe
it's a
it.
scary number to throw these things around.
Bro, so you're telling me, I don't even want to talk about printing cash because fuck, I need a printer like that. But my point is like, dude, I feel like he's being unfairly judged. Everyone calls him, the Sleeping Joe. And I saw him shaking hands during his election campaign. And I'm like, dude, please don't fall. Please don't fall. Don't break a fucking hip. And one of the things, like, when you're talking about I came full circle with Trump, was just like, dude, I was never worried about Trump falling. I was like, Trump, please don't hit him. Please don't hit him. Trump pushed fucking, what was it in Germany? He was in Europe. I don't remember where the fuck he was. He was shaking hands, and they were like, now going to go forward to like the next step. He jumped in front of the other political leader, he jumped right, he put that fucker behind him.
I don't even know how much of this is true, okay? But apparently the Prince of Saudi Arabia cannot be touched by anyone,
Yeah.
okay? Yet there's this footage, okay, of Trump in Saudi Arabia walking by, tapping the guy on the shoulder and going through. And everyone's like, yo, no one's supposed to touch this man. Only Donald Trump had the audacity to just like bump the man sitting in a chair. Like these TikTok videos. I don't know if there's any truth to this concept. I don't know what Saudi Arabia laws are.
Right.
In terms of like you can't touch the Prince
royal family and shit.
I mean,
yeah. I mean,
this man gets away with things that apparently no one else can.
He projects strength. And that's one thing that I feel like our country is lacking, is that projection of strength on the ultimate level from our commander in chief. You know what I mean? Our commander in chief should be like fucking Sergeant Slaughter from G.I. Joe. I mean, that's my commander in chief. I'm like, bro, that motherfucker says we're taking that hill. Fuck it, I'll enlist because I just want to be next to you, bro. I mean, I will be the accountant. I'm not. I am not. I'm a great fucking shot, but when they're shooting back,
It's a different story.
yeah, dude, I'm finding the rock behind. But my point is, I feel like Biden's getting a raw deal. He went into Michigan, part of his campaign and whatever, and they're calling him Genocide Joe. And there's a huge Muslim/Arab population.
There's a big pro-Palestinian,
pro-Palestinian.
what do you want to call it? Protest movement. Demonstrations are really
in
taking
Michigan,
place.
right? And I feel like, dude, how you calling this man Genocide Joe? What do you want him to do? He can't just rock up. If we get, and this has been historic forever, if we get involved in Israeli conflict, we lose all of our allies in the Middle East. All right? And when I say allies, we're just not going to fuck with you today because we don't got the time. Those are like our allies in the Middle East. And when Trump was in office, we had better relationships with Saudi Arabia. I remember listening to or reading an article. The prince won't even take Biden's phone call, dude. Biden calls him and says, hey, we got to talk policy, right? I don't know what the fuck they're going to talk about. The prince is like, tell him I'll call him back. No one will call Trump back. They'll be like, I'm coming, brother. I'm coming. Matter of fact, Trump, let's do a video call. Let's do a Zoom, goddammit. So I want you to know that you got my full fucking attention. Where Biden is kind of like, I'll catch him in between insurers and shit. I'm like, dude, come on, bro. It's just like, I feel like he's getting a raw deal. He doesn't project strength. So I think people are bullying him, like cyberbullying or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Everyone's talking shit about him. You know, the whole fucking go Brandon shit. Yo, that's goddamn disrespectful for our commander in chief, bro. But bro, you see them flags fucking everywhere, and I'm just like, do we do it to ourselves? Did he allow it to happen? Maybe he doesn't have a good publicist to project strength. I remember he used to jog. I don't think that motherfucker can skip. So I just feel
It's an election year, so things are going to get polarized, and people are going to look things. They're going to push things to the extreme, and you have a lot of rhetoric, and we've reached a point where I don't know what to believe from anybody.
right.
But you have to somehow put forth a message, and right now I don't feel like Joe Biden is doing that. But then it's a little early. It's a little early.
He's gonna start doing push-ups.
I'm not suggesting that, but my point is at some point they need to take control of the narrative. They need to take control of how Biden is being perceived. No one's going to suggest that he's going to start riding horseback, bare, chested, the way Putin did.
Putin style, baby.
Okay, I'm not suggesting.
Or whooping the national
the
judo
average
team.
American isn't interested in that. That's not the narrative that you're trying to push. But right now, I don't feel like Joe Biden is in control of the narrative.
Yeah.
They need to take control of that narrative. And Trump probably has done that more successfully than anyone. It didn't matter what you were aiming at Trump. What he wanted to talk about, what he wanted to draw people's attention to is what we ended up talking about. Even if nobody knew it was really relevant. It may not even be relevant.
Yeah.
But he was able to push that narrative, and that's the movement that Joe needs to do and move away from this concept. Now, in terms of what's happening with Israel, this becomes one of these issues where there's no way to win this argument from an American president or an American politician.
Okay.
This is one of those things that no matter how you wade into this, you are guaranteed to piss off a group of people.
Kind of feel like we're going back to our Harvard conversation.
It's the same concept.
Fuck, bro.
There's no way. You have to really go in controlling the narrative and pushing a conviction to try to take either side of this. There's no middle ground here.
Yeah.
And that is what makes it so divisive and so difficult. And the best you could do, it's interesting to me that people are talking about the Israeli-Palestine conflict and the Ukrainian-Russian conflict in terms of we can't do both. Like you have to choose one or the other, or somehow they're tying the two. Mm-hmm. Like not only have you choose one or the other, but you have to choose one side on this issue, one side on the other issue, and then somehow marry the two.
Yeah.
Like
Bring it
that
full
is
circle.
really hard.
Yeah.
And there's no way you're going to do this without pissing off a certain group of people. And Biden, and from my point of view, is a traditional politician who's trying to piss off the least amount of people.
Well, that's what he was known for as VP. Obama tried to push an agenda, stalled. Biden was the guy who would go in, reach across both sides, get in enough from the other side to make it happen, and he would do it. Like he was like the freaking Republican whisperer. All right. He
What
would
was your perception of
I'm telling you, Biden was you're right. He's a career politician. He
My
knows how
perception
to-
of Biden during the Obama administration is please don't talk. Whatever is happening,
No,
push
that was-
Biden somewhere else.
That was
Don't
Pence.
let him speak anything.
No. Okay. I'm gonna ask you right now. Who was a better VP, Pence or Biden?
Pence, without question.
You're fucking crazy, bro. No,
Dude, we're trying to get everybody to stop reacting to.
no. Pence. Okay, Pence is a fucking penis. I hated Pence, bro. He was horrible. Okay, Pence was just a yes man. He was always behind Trump. Whatever Trump said, yes sir. Your fart smell
Until
great,
he got
sir.
targeted by Trump because he spoke his own freaking opinion because he didn't toe the party
Trump
line.
was already leaving. That's when he decided to grow a backbone. Trump was already on his way out. He didn't stand up to him. He didn't stand up to him until fucking he lost the election. And then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. I need to pivot. But man, Pence is he's a pussy. We're going to jump right to that portion of the segment. Pence is a pussy. I don't like him. I don't know how to. I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that.
Compared to
God.
Biden?
My gosh. Who's unemployed at the moment? Thank you. Oh my God.
No.
And I'm not a Biden fan.
Pence is not exactly hurting.
He's not. No, but I mean, he
What do
ain't
you
got.
mean unemployed?
Well, he can't run. He can't run for any office. I don't care. What state is he from? Indiana.
I
I think he's from Indiana.
I lost track. Sorry.
He ain't got no job, man.
He's not a politician. Let's put it that way.
Wait a minute. I think he was like governor or some shit. He's
No, he's not actively currently running office.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say now.
What's he gonna do? Write a book?
He shows up on the shows with political commentary.
Makes me fall asleep. I can't stand Pence. I can't believe you said that. Wow. We got to talk more about it. I can't believe you could even give Pence. I wouldn't let him borrow my library card. Oh my God. All right.
I'd be afraid that Biden would lose the library card. I'm not gonna let him know it. He would forget that I gave it to him.
Oh my God. That's funny. That is funny. So
That's the perception. That's not.
I wanted
that might
to
not
say
be fair.
I
but-
wanted to say that the best spin doctor of all time though is Donald Trump.
No, without question.
My man has to pay $83 million for that defamation suit that he lost. He said, I ain't paying that. I ain't paying that. I was just like, dude, wait a minute. The judge, you had a trial. You lost. You got a case. I ain't paying that. I'm like, bro. That man is spin doctor 101. They should do college courses on what this man does. Never apologizes, which I think is sales 101. And just fucking, I don't care.
I feel like he should be the greatest psychology case study in history.
Now, be fair, we're not calling him psychotic.
No. I'm saying he's completely delusional.
So we are calling him psychotic.
No, that's completely different things. No, psychosis and delusion are not the same thing.
So he's like that cat that looks in the mirror and sees a lion. I mean,
No, actually, that's probably closer. Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably closer to
Oh my gosh,
what I'm
sounds-
trying to say.
Oh my God. You know, pivoting with college and whatever, I've been talking to like quite a few people. I network with a lot of people. And, you know, I help them with, you know, financial planning, tax planning, save tax dollars, invest. And one of those things I tell people is like, listen, you know, right now we're going to save you some tax dollars, invest it, or create a college fund for your kids, put your kids through college. The reason why I go through this whole, I'm shocked / amazed of how many people, I'm going to say 50-50s being generous, have told me, I'm sending my kid to college. They don't learn anything and they come out with debt. And I'm like, shit, okay. You know, you and I been to college. You graduated, I didn't. Point is, I see these folks, I see this more and more, and I'm wondering, wait a minute, you know, I get it. Life skills. How do I want to say this? There's a lot of shit that you go to college for that you learn that has nothing to do with your career. All right? Has nothing to do with the industry that you're going to go into. But I kind of feel that by skipping that college step, you're missing out on the intangible things that you learn in college. Networking to me is number one. Every one of my kids, like I got 2 kids in college right now. All I'm telling them is the most important thing about college is networking. Get to know everybody from the students to the professors. Because when you become a professional, these people are going to prop you up and help you. All right. And this is going to give you a foothold in your industry of what you're trying to do. Minimum, it lets you understand the bureaucracy of it all. You got to jump through the fucking hoops to do what you got to do, especially if you're trying to get financial aid, especially if you're trying to get this endorsement from this professor in order for you to do this, whatever, fucking internship, whatever the hell it is you're trying to do. You, very educated individual, very much, you know, I said it from the very first, smartest guy that I know. How do you feel about that rhetoric? I don't know if you've seen it or felt it or witnessed it. I do it. I witness it on a daily basis. I just want to know, like, how do you feel about that rhetoric of saying college is a waste of time? You should go out in the world and just do your thing.
I think the issue isn't so much. I don't think college is a waste of time, but I think people need to have a better understanding of what a college degree provides for them. And I think first of all, in full disclosure, I don't have a college degree actively right now. I never actually finished any of the programs. I've done a lot of college programs. I didn't actually get a quote unquote bachelor's degree. I'm probably going to go back and do that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when we grew up, we had this perception of what a college degree provided you in terms of substantive income. You know what I mean?
Go to
We were
college
brought
and
up
work,
on the
yeah.
concept of you will make more money as a college degree than you would in any other field. That is questionable. There is a lot of other avenues for income where a college degree may or may not
Right.
make that much of a difference. Statistically speaking, if you have a college degree, you're going to end up making more money. There is a marketing aspect that you talked about when you talk about that college degree. There are a lot of doors that are going to get closed to you because you don't have that degree. It doesn't make you more qualified. It doesn't make you any better at that job. There are plenty of people who could have done the same job without a college degree that probably would have done it better. But that marketing opportunity is still there. But the idea that you're going to spend X amount of dollars to get a college degree
Yeah.
to turn around and end up with a career making Y amount of income doesn't necessarily add up. So the blanket statement of saying, I'm going to make more money by paying for all this debt to go to college,
Right.
and I'm going to end up with this giant income that will basically offset that debt rather quickly, is questionable. And I think people need to examine that more specifically for your career, for your activity. What it is
It's got to be industry driven, right? Because you can't rock up and say I'm gonna be a doctor without going to med school, right?
I hate to say that it should be industry driven because at the same time, you should be going for education for the sake of education. You should be going for education for the sake of bettering yourself as an individual. If you're going for education for the sole purposes of ending up with a certain income, you need to examine that very carefully because a lot of times the college degree, the amount of money you're going to spend, the amount of debt and time you're spending trying to get out of that debt may not translate into the kind of income you're going to get into the industry that you're interested in going into.
Right.
That has to be examined very carefully because I think a lot of people go to a college degree, end up with this giant debt to go into a field that was never going to generate the kind of income necessary to quote unquote wipe out that debt rather quickly.
Substantiate that debt, stuff like that.
You know what I'm saying? So you've actually hamstrung yourself by having this debt, this responsibility of trying to pay it off because you wanted to go into a field that didn't necessarily have the income. The reality of it is your income is based on the economics. How many people are in this field?
Sure.
How much income does that field generate versus how much you're going to have to spend in college debt? That examination has to be viewed very carefully before people just make a blanket statement of saying, I'm going to go get a college degree because I'm going to end up making more money.
Yep. I just feel like by skipping that step, we lose. It's kind of a bit of a brain drain. We lose new ideas. I think a lot of new ideas are done at the college level, and those trickle down to the other industries. For sure, you can take a class just on one thing, and you can be awesome at that. You can probably bypass a lot of that fluff, but on your way, that fluff to me has value. It's intangible. And I agree with you. If you're going in for, let's just say an underwater fire safety degree, you're probably not going to do so well income to debt ratio or revenue, earnings to debt ratio. But I kind of feel like, damn, you know what? On the way, all of the things that you learned, all the networking that you did, maybe on the way to do that degree, you're like, this sucks. I don't want to do this. I want to move on and do something else. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I just kind of feel like that foundation. And, with my clients, at the end of the day, it's my job to advise them and, put money in their hands to do whatever the hell they want to do with it. But even if, I don't know. I just feel like it creates a lack of new ideas. Like now coding, I'll give you an example. Coding is one. I started taking a class on Python on YouTube just to freaking learn how to do it because I want to create a bot to do shit, right? Well, I start saying, you know what, dude, you don't need to know how to do coding because they have like all of these codes kind of like plug and play. So, I want a bot to do this. We got this code. Just grab it and drop it in. I'm like, cool, this is for me. Because I don't want to learn how to backspace, slash, asterisk, this shit. I don't want to learn. I mean, at my age, it's going to take me 10 years to figure that shit out. By the time I figure that shit out, that's just going to be obsolete. My point is, if I'm just one of those copy and paste, if the next generation is a copy and paste generation, what comes after that? We don't have enough people creating new ideas. Now, I can't explain that to my clients. At the end of the day, if you feel like your kid you don't want to set up your kid for college because you think that's failure, by all means, whatever. But I kind of feel like on a long-term, maybe 50 or generational agenda, I kind of feel like we're putting a cap on innovation. And not all innovation happens at the collegiate level, but A lot of it does. And part of it is because of resources. You got the college to give you money and, you know, they get grants and whatever. I don't know. I'm just really mixed about it. I get it. Fucking debt sucks, especially student loan debt, right? Kind of feels like it never goes away. But, you know, I don't know. I was just kind of,
It's annoying to have to place a monetary value on education.
yeah.
It is a product. You go to a college, this is their product. They're going to sell it to you. Okay. And then you have to somehow pay for it. But knowledge should be achieved for the sake of knowledge. But then the minute we attach a financial instrument to that, then we have to look about, well, how is that financial instrument going to get paid off? How is that debt going to get paid off? And the reality of it is that if your average air conditioning mechanic, okay, is going to make more money than your average sociology degree.
Especially in Florida.
You know what I'm saying? You need to look at the economics of the situation.
Yeah.
Would that person with the sociology degree have better networking opportunities? Absolutely. Does that necessarily translate into more income? No, not necessarily. So then let's evaluate that debt that went into it. You know what I'm saying? These are conversations that people need to have when they start talking about any financial instrument that you're going to get into. You need to look at what it's going to cost. So we wanted to make degrees as affordable to as many people, and we want that innovation to be there, but people need to have an awareness of the economics that are going to go into this.
Yeah. So maybe that's something that they can do in college is say, hey, man, you're going to be in debt by X and you're only going to make Y. Is this worth your 4 years? Right. And then a 4-year degree will only give you so much should you pursue post-grad, you know, graduate school or whatever, post-secondary education or whatever.
It's really complicated because it's not an apples to apples
Yeah.
issue. Your university charges a specific fee. They don't charge a different degree whether you go into engineering versus sociology. They have their classes. They have a base fee. It's a hard thing.
Well, thanks for indulging me. We're going to close out our episode today, Pussy versus Patriot. Who did we lead off with? Trump. He's a repeat.
Yeah, nothing's changed.
To me, he's still a patriot.
Okay, but then we're gonna agree.
I don't know. What did I say the first time? I'm gonna be accused.
No,
of
you called him.
flip-flopping.
No. You
I
called him a
I've
patriot.
always called. Okay, good.
Pretty
good,
sure
good.
you called him a patriot.
Yeah.
I said he was a patriot in his own mind, and that hasn't changed. But let's talk about Biden.
Okay. Biden has always done what he's always done. And he's been elected time and time again. If you're allowed to say Trump in his own right is a patriot, I'm allowed to say Biden in his own right is a patriot.
I have to agree that 100% that was going to be my answer.
Yeah.
Biden believes he's doing the right
He
thing.
believes he's doing the right thing.
The difference is along political lines. It depends on how you want to view. It depends on your political point of view.
Reminds me of that crash test dummy commercial. Says you can learn a lot from a dummy.
Yes,
Poor guy. He should have retired.
20 years ago.
Yeah, minimum. Who else did we have? God, I feel like we did. Who did? Pence.
Pence, patriot.
Fucking bullshit. Bullshit. Yeah, all right.
Absolutely a patriot.
Yeah, no, we disagree on that one, but fine, cool. It's a pussy. And then it's a pussy. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, watching Brothers View. We'll see you guys next time. I couldn't see the time. I kept looking at you to see we were at.